Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel today. So last night I was out here till about midnight, and then I cleaned up and went inside. We did the porting and everything on white rice here, got the head torque back down, so we're pretty much ready to go with assembly now. I was trying to dig and get everything together, and apparently I don't have any assembly loop here, so I'm not going to put the camshafts in today. What I'm going to end up doing is I'll get the turbo manifold, the turbo, and all that stuff back on, get the lines tight, and then I'll get the intake manifold on, we'll get all that squared away, get the radiator back in, and then I will pick up some assembly lube tomorrow when we run into town to ship out a turbo to Matt at Turbobay, because we're going to do a prototype turbo on Ricecar 2.0 here. What we're going to do is we're going to use his 9-blade turbine, but we're going to put a slightly smaller compressor on it than what is actually going on white rice here. So that turbo should be pretty efficient with the smaller compressor and a bigger hot side. So hopefully we'll be able to get it to flow enough air when we're feeding it the nitrous, and hopefully we don't bottleneck it. I guess if we do, we'll see the change. I mean, it'll start really choking it up top if that's an issue. So obviously if it is, we'll figure out what we want to do with it at that point, if we're going to leave it a smaller shot or if we just want to put the car in ethanol and turn this son of a bitch up. So we'll play that one by ear, but for now I do want to put nitrous in the car. I'm hoping to keep it on pump gas. If we can make 320 horsepower on gas, and then at minimum at least 100 horsepower with a nitrous, that manifold should be enough to flow 420 to 450 horsepower worth of air. So if we can make 450 with nitrous on, we should not have a problem seeing something like 500 to 525 foot-pounds of torque, which would be pretty amazing. But like I said, the ultimate goal is to make about 475 horsepower, maybe 500, and then get as close to 575 foot-pounds as possible. Ideally, that's where I want to be with this one, because we're going to weigh 2,700 pounds. With that amount of power, should be pretty comparable to this car. This one is just going to be ethanol, no nitrous, stupid light. This one is going to be a road-driven car, but I want to be able to go almost as fast as this one. For me to actually take the nitrous BWS record, it has to be faster than our realistic goal with this one here. The record is a 1069, so we need at least a 1068. The goal is probably going to be like a 1050 to a 1055 by the time it's done. I don't know what we're going to end up with, but I'm really excited to find out. What I need from that car to take the nitrous assisted record is at least a 1050 or a 1055, because right now the record I believe is a 1056. So if we go a 1055 in that car and a 1050 in this car, I'll be in a really happy spot. I'll just drive them, I won't change them, you know, if they break or if I blow one of them up. You know, if I blow this one up, the nitrous will definitely come out and I'll just put it back on gas and drive it. But if I blow this one up, it's just a stock block. I can buy another engine and keep doing the same thing, no big deal. But I'm not going to keep putting money back in the platform at this point. I just want to get these cars done, chase a couple records, have some fun with them, really enjoy the cars, and then start stepping into my Nova. I've made a couple mentions on Facebook and in a couple videos, and at the end of one video with the Supra, the first video I put up of the Supra actually, I did mention the Nova, and I did show a quick picture or a quick like couple seconds worth of video on it. So if you guys caught that, then it's going to start happening as soon as possible. I need to get this done, I need to get that done, and then I need to get my Cummins done. But the Cummins is actually going to get done before this car, because I do need a tow rig. I don't want to pay a tow bill, and I don't want to get stranded at the racetrack. So we're going to tow this one anywhere and everywhere we go. That one will drive to most places. When I'm really beating on it, I probably will trailer it just in case. I mean, things do happen. I'm not gonna try and chase a record and be safe. So once we get the record, I could probably back the pills off a little bit and we'll drive it to the track and enjoy it that way. Just throw the slicks in the back, get to the track, pull the passenger seat, put the slicks on, make some passes. Probably won't change anything else. Probably just leave it on road tires on the back. So, but yeah, that's realistically that's the current plan now, after talking with Matt yesterday on the prototype that we're gonna put together for Ricecar here. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to get the turbo and everything set up, get back on the car, we're going to do the manifold, do the radiator. I'm going to get going on this one. Now, I do have somebody stopping by today. He's actually the owner of the Hellcat Dakota, which is a real awesome truck. His name is Greg, and he put a Hellcat motor in it with a 6-speed trans. I don't know if it's got the TR6060 or if it's a T56. You'd have to go over to his YouTube or Instagram or Facebook pages in the description below, so you guys can go on there and check it out, because it is a really cool truck. But he's coming up, he's going to do some neon seats in his other Dakota he's putting together, I believe. So so at some point I am going to have to step outside. We'll take care of that deal. He might come in here, you might see him on the camera checking out this car too, but we're going to get going. Okay, good there, good there. I think I got new washers, I'll double check. crush washers for the water and oil lines. Now you don't have to do this when you put the oil drain line on, but I like to just put a small thin coat. You don't want to do too much because when you tighten it down, it will kind of squeeze some out. Just enough to get a thin wet coat on there, so you don't want any buildup. I hate to put this on backwards and have to do this again. Wouldn't be a good time. Now the OEM gasket does have slits in it. I don't know if you'll be able to see them on the camera, but it has tiny little cuts around the hole, and that's made so the gasket can flex a little bit without tearing, and you can thread the bolt through it without destroying the gasket itself. So you go ahead and just get your bolt started. There's another bolt. There it is. I'm going to clean these threads out actually first before we go too far here. I got too many parts. Just to make sure that there's no ceramic that's going to booger the threads up when I try and put something in here. To be able to take it out by hand. It means you got some good threads. Clean threads anyway. Old gasket here. See where they sit on the studs. Oof. I have to. Yep, I mean I could use a washer, but I don't want to do that shit. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pull that off. So I guess I'll pull the studs back out. I'm gonna have to cut, I'll just cut them so they bottom out. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably knock 4 or 5 threads right off, so it bottoms out against this collar on the bolt or the stud, and then we'll get her back together. Turbo style. Gasket. Cool. Just to make sure that we got enough room to actually get the nut on. Yeah, that's the only bad one is that one. So we're past the knurls, so we're all right. Just have to order new gaskets. Yeah, deteriorating. Greg's truck sounded pretty sick. I'll cut this in here quick. He just stopped by a minute ago before I got back to cutting these. That's why I shut the camera off for a minute. Come on, there we go. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Can't wait to get a lane with that guy. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think his best is like an 11-teen or something like that. So back at her. Alright guys, so before we get too far ahead of myself here, I was almost ready to put the turbo on and then realized I didn't even have the block off plate on it. What I use when I put these on, high temp RTV, and I just use the torque solution block off plates unless you can find somebody parting out and get them for like $5 or $10, whatever. I have a couple of them up on the shelf because of that, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the shiny bits for my own stuff. And if anybody needs anything specific, if they want a new one, I can get them a new one, but usually most guys just want to powder coat them anyway, so they just take the cheap route, get them coated, and then run with it. So we're going to use some short, I'm going to use Allen heads this time, 6x1 bolt. They all go through, but if you use too long of a bolt, you'll run into the housing right there. So by the time I get the plate on it, it'll probably sit right about like that. So it'll be perfect. So these are just probably only 1/2 inch long, maybe. Let me see. Yeah, about a 1/2 inch. 6x1x10 maybe is what it might be. But so we're gonna take the plate. You don't want to do a whole bunch because it's gonna sandwich out, and you'd hate to suck a piece of this shit into the motor. So you're going to seal the perimeter, and you're going to seal this piece. Because this portion does go to the unboosted, or to the boosted side, and then this side comes around and goes back into the compressor cover. So you don't want a big boost lead going through, so you kind of just paint it up like a Pokeball. Sure that you got no breaks in your silicone. You don't want to do a whole lot, like I said, because when you bolt it down, it is going to mash some out. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So you can see it right here. It might be hard to see. Let's try. See the light? So this is the unboosted side, and that would be the boosted side. So you can see the difference, and that's why you want that silicone in the middle, because you'd hate to have a boost light going back to your intake. Would cause something to be a turd, that is for sure. But set it on there, you don't want to wiggle it around. Just get it set flat. Start your bolts, get all 3 started. Make sure you start all 3, because these plates can come with a little bit of tolerance, so if you tighten it too soon, you might have one hole that's off if you just get 2 of them started. And then what you can do, don't want to set it on the exhaust wheel, that's for sure. Try and set it up, and then I take a plastic trim tool. You could use like a mason spreader, razor blade, or whatever. Just kind of run the edge, get rid of the extra as much as you can. Kind of clean it up a little bit. Use this. Pretty windy today. Okay, so that side cleaned up pretty decent. And you never want to use brake clean on this stuff, because that's fine. You don't want it to go between the sandwich plate and the housing and then eat away at the silicone and then cause a leak anyway. So I just wipe it up. By the time I start this stuff will be dry anyway. If you were going to put this in a car and try and fire it right away, if you were just doing a turbo, I mean, by the time you put the turbo in, if I was doing it, you're probably going to be ready to fire it in about a half hour, 45 minutes. But, or sooner, depending on how good you are, I guess. But I would probably want to at least let it sit for a couple hours and let this silicone set up. Use this tool here, clean up as much as I can. Stuff is messy. So yeah, if you buy some 6x 1x10 bolts, they sit pretty flush. That's all right. Give it a little squeeze again. Make sure we're good. Should have Loctited them, but oh well. I can check them in the car. That wouldn't be an issue. Make sure you got your spacer ring on. Now you're just gonna feed it in here. And you're gonna try and line it up to the oil drain. So now we're on the drain. We'll rotate it into the manifold. Kind of twist it a little bit against the drain hose if you can. You definitely don't want to damage the exhaust wheel. There we go. Okay. Get the clamp on. Now you want to spin it, spin the turbo and make sure that you're going to be square. But I'm just going to get the clamp in here to kind of hold it, try and square it up a little bit. You don't want to tighten this down until you're ready. So we're spinning still. Now that we got it lined up to the clamp. Now when you get it, ideally it's got to be really short right here on those threads that come through. So when you tighten that up, it will suck that manifold, or it will suck the turbo into the manifold. Actually, I'll try and show you guys that right here. Let me get this battery tray out. Let me start this nut real quick. I'll get this battery tray out, and then we'll try her. See if I can set the camera up on the tray and show you guys how it sucks in. We're still spinning, so we're good. Oh, that wasn't even in there. Oh no. No way. You gotta be fist-fucking me. That's a good time. I didn't even put any pressure against it. Son of a bitch. Well. Oh man, this got interesting. Oh, this might be working. Thank God. Woohoo, wow. We got lucky. Thank God for these fluted extractors. It was enough to get in there and grab it and pull this thing out. That sucks though. God, that sucks. Took the oil line off, I was ready to pull the cover and everything, but oh well, guess we got the right tools. Saved you some time. The oil line wasn't too hard to do, so let me get a fitting. To make matters worse, I didn't even have an 8th or a 16th MPT plug, so I got to use that fitting anyway, but it was probably cracked when it went in. It might have shot out on the dyno or something, so I don't know. I guess we'll take it as a sign that it had to happen. Now with this, I'm just going to put a little cap on it. This will be that cap and a zip tie, but I'm not going to be able to get the socket over it, so I'll put that on once it's in. Flashlight is dying on the camera. Hopefully it's not too hard for you guys to see. Come on, start. Start. Or be a pain in the ass. Wow, it does not want to start. What is the deal? One anyway. Cap on. That should be tight. Now for the pain in the ass one. I don't know why this thing keeps fighting me today. So the camera died, and I got tired of fighting with it, so I'm gonna retap this hole. Open the threads up a little bit. Just got to make sure you got no extra metal left inside. Oh, look at that. What do you know? Should have did that to begin with. Get it until it's good and snug. Turbo's on, everything's ready. I'll get the wastegate. When I packaged the other turbo up, I left the damn bolts on it. Like an idiot. Oh, guess this one's got an E-clip. Interesting. There we go. There we go. Take a bunch of preload out of it for now. Get it tight. One turn, pass no lash on the gate. This is the third. So turbo's in. Turbo's in, lines are on. So now pretty much all I'm going to do is get the water neck on, get the manifold on, put the radiator in, hook the hoses up, and then I'll put the support mount in for now. That way I don't have to rely on that jack to hold the engine until I can get some of that assembly lube, get my camshafts in, get everything timed, we'll get it tight. manifold. Got the intake manifold on, got the turbo manifold, turbo and everything on. The only thing that's not on with the turbo right now is the bracket underneath, but I'm waiting until I get the O2 housing in for that, and the charge pipe that goes from the turbo down to the intercooler right here. I'm gonna get the O2 housing, the race dump, and the O2 housing for this car all powder coated, or not powder coated, but ceramic coated. I did get the heater block off plate in, so that came out pretty nice. I do have to change the fuel rail yet. I got to put a regular 0405 rail that doesn't have this fitting because we are regulating pre-rail instead of post-rail now. So this rail will probably end up just going to that car. Got the motor mount in, so the engine's suspended, radiator and everything's in, hoses are tight. Intercooler pipe's on, all the connections are made. I gotta wait obviously till I put the valve cover on and put the catch can in, get that guy plumbed in. But I mean, for where we need to be, we're in a pretty good spot. So the only thing I have to do at this point is get the cams in, get the belt, get the cams degreed, get the tension set. Gotta get an oil change for it, put water in it, get the fuel pump hooked up, put some fuel in the cell, make sure we got no leaks, set base pressure, get some push lock hose so I can take care of what I was doing with the line. So before I had the fuel pressure regulator over here, so I had it come over, and then I had a split that went to the regulator and one that went to the map because I got the map sensor down here now. I'm gonna get a Y, so it has one that comes off and goes over to the map, but then in that Y, the leg that comes this way, and then I'll loop that over to the fuel pressure regulator here. Getting really excited, got the turbo heads ported, we're going back together. I still gotta work on the headlight intake. I don't really have to have it to go to the dyno. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this one wrapped up today, guys. Definitely, thanks for checking us out today. Stay safe, stay clean, have a good one, and we'll see you at the track. Thanks.